Shalum. Shalum and welcome. Welcome to the White Rose Family Channel. If you're tuning in for the first time, my name is Symmanayah. And these are the words I'm compelled to present before an awakening set-apart nation. To those who are drawn to Yahuah, the Almighty Father, who are drawn by him to his word, Yahusha, as it is written in John 6:44. Before I get into this segment of the final Exodus, where I began to piece together a grouping of messages that emphasizes end-time promises, and I've decided to just say the title on the slide and on the video as what the title would be, and then in the video on the slide, where I list the three major end-time promises, I put what part this is. So this is part 4 of end-time promises. But before I go any further, let me say this. The views expressed in these messages do not necessarily reflect the views of the owners, managers, and or shareholders or sponsors of this media platform. With that said, let's get started. In this segment, I want to bring to your attention the need for us to be mindful of the Temple of Yahuah. The Temple of Yahuah. As end times ramp up, and there's a lot of chatter, there's a lot of confusion, there's a lot of misunderstanding, largely in part, to some degree, we're depending on our cognitive factors, the brain. The brain is flesh, my brothers and sisters. I will present the case that the ultimate house of Yahuah, the temple of Yahuah, is this body. And within this body, we have a spirit, the inward man. And that inward man is drawn and joined with the spirit of Yahuah. I will present that case, why it is important during these final days, my brothers and sisters. For there is much correction. Great corrections are coming. And they will come out of humbling times, extreme humbling times. With that said, let's get into it. The Temple of Yahuah. My brothers and sisters, be advised, there is the physical temple, or some would say hekel, or building, where brothers and sisters will gather in fellowship. But there's also that spiritual temple. And I would present the case that that spiritual temple is our inward man housed in these physical bodies. So in other words, our spirit housed in these bodies joined with Yahuah represents the temple of Yahuah. There's a lot of talk about the third temple being erected. And I will talk about that within this segment, the third temple being erected. And that has to be the place where the anti-Messiah will go and sit in the Holy of Holies, declaring himself as the Mashiach. I will talk about that in this segment. Come with me. Let's visit 1 Kings 6:1. It reads, "And it came to be in the 480th year, after the children of Yashar'al had come out of the land of Mitzrayim, in the 4th year of the reign of Shalum, or some would say Solomon, over Yashar'al, in the new moon of Z, which is the second new moon, that he began to build the house of Yahuah." This is the physical, what is known most commonly as the first temple of Yahuah. Drop down to verses 11 through 13. I'm still in 1 Kings 6th chapter. "And the word of Yahuah came to Shalum, saying, The house which you are building, if you walk in my laws and do my right rulings, and shall guard all my commandments and walk in them, then I shall confirm my word with you, which I spoke to your father David, and shall dwell in the midst of the children of Yashar'al, and not forsake my people. Now, he didn't say, I'm going to dwell in this house that you're going to build. He said, if you walk in my laws, do my right rules, guard my commands, walk in them, then I shall confirm my word with you, which I spoke to your father David, and you shall dwell in the midst of the children of Yashar'al, and not forsake my people. Here, many people comprehension levels battle on trying to understand. This is the spirit of the Almighty Father Yahuah, saying he will dwell in the midst of those that are obeying him and doing things. And it just so happens there's an order with them in the physical building, but he said he will dwell in the midst of the children. He will be dwelling within us. And time will tell, my brothers and sisters, for they look forward to these times where he dwell within us. Come with me also to 2 Chronicles 3:1. It reads, and Shalum began to build the house of Yahuah at Jerusalem on Mount Moriah, where he appeared to his father David at the place that David had prepared on the threshing floor of Ornan and Jebusite. So here we are talking about a physical temple. Let's continue. I want you to also visit. That first temple was destroyed. Do your research and you'll see it was destroyed. Now, a second temple was built. Come with me as I just lay some teasers for you to research more thoroughly about the second temple. I want to read Ezra chapter 6, 15 through 17. Ezra chapter 6, 15 through 17. It said, and this house was completed on the 3rd day of the month of Adar, which was in the 6th year of the reign of the sovereign Yahuah, or Dare Yahuah. Then the children of Yashar'al, the priests and the Levites, and the rest of the sons of the exile did the dedication of this house of Eli with joy, and offered at the dedication of this house of Eli 100 bulls, 200 rams, 400 lambs, and as a sin offering for all Yashar'al, 12 male goats according to the number of the tribes. This is talking about the second temple. Now come with me to Haggai. Now do your research in that whole chapter of Ezra. I want you to also come with me to Haggai, chapter 1, 14 and 15. Again, this is just an excerpt. Read and study the whole narrative around the second temple. And Yahuah stirred up the spirit of Zerubbabel, son of Shealtiel, governor of Yehuda, and the spirit of Yahusha, son of Jehoshaphat, the high priest, and the spirit of all the remnant of the people. And they came and worked on the house of Yahuah, host of the Almighty One. On the 24th day, the 6th new moon, the 2nd year of Dare the sovereign. When they say they worked on the house of Yahuah, it's talking about a structure that will house, that there will be the priests going in, and the spirit of Yahuah will be in their midst. The emphasis is not on the building. The emphasis is what will be placed in the house, or should I say, who will go in and out of the house. And what is that ultimate house? Haggai 2:9 says, let the esteem of the latter house be greater than the former, said Yahuah of hosts. And in this place I give peace, declares Yahuah of hosts. In this place, he gave peace, provided an environment for peace for the priests, for those who were chosen to execute the office of the priesthood. Yashar'al. Sure, there was that Solomon temple and then the second temple built. And because of that, there's a lot of emphasis on this third temple, with many people saying that it's going to be in Jerusalem. I have no doubt a third temple will be built, mimicking, copying the perception of what was built what Solomon had built. You see, it is my belief that the synagogue of Satan is trying to get ahead of the narrative and the prophecies by doing what they think is right, trying to control the narrative of the ways of the Almighty Father and how he works in us, through us, one towards another, and collectively. And therefore, they are striving to build this third temple. And so many set-apart ones are looking forward to this third temple being built because they believe that marks the fulfillment of the prophecy. Notwithstanding, my brothers and sisters, I will present the case that the ultimate temple of Yahuah is our bodies, our spirit linked with his spirit functioning in these bodies, individually and collectively. Let me continue. Come with me, O Yashar'al. Prayerfully seek to discern, for it is important that we understand the dynamics of the temple of Yahuah. Let us recognize the priority when it comes to talking about the temple. Come with me to 1 Corinthians chapter 3, verse 16 through 18. 1 Corinthians chapter 3, verse 16 through 18. For it reads, "Do you not know that you are a dwelling place of the Almighty One, and that the Spirit of the Almighty One dwells in you?" This is Shalum talking to the set-apart ones, consisting of Hebrews and Gentiles grafted together as one. Now, the Gentiles don't become Hebrews, but they do become part of the nation of Yashar'al as a nation. There's a difference. There's Hebrews, or some will say Hebrew Israelites, and there's a nation. Just like in the United States, there are many different races. But most commonly, the people of this United States are known as Americans. The banner, the ultimate banner, will be Yashar'al, and it will consist of Hebrew Israelites and Gentiles who are sojourners, who are grafted in, who are drawn by Yahuah to Yahusha. Let me go on with this here. Do you not know that you are a dwelling place of the Almighty One, and that the Spirit of the Almighty One dwells in you? If anyone destroys the dwelling place of the Almighty One shall destroy him, for the dwelling place of the Almighty One is set apart, which you are. He didn't say the brick and mortar, it say you are. He goes on to say, let no one deceive himself. If anyone among you seems to be wise in this age, let him become foolish, so that he might become wise. In other words, let him put his wisdom to the side and seek the wisdom of the Almighty Father, which will be confirmed, reaffirmed in more ways than we can realize. Now come with me to 1 Corinthians chapter 6, verse 19 and 20. It reads, or do you not know that your body is the dwelling place of the set-apart Spirit who is in you, which you have from the Almighty One, and you are not your own? For you were bought with a price, therefore esteem of the Almighty One in your body and in your spirit, which are the Almighty One. My brothers and sisters, in the midst of all the uncertainty, chaos, the wars, diseases, pandemic, earthquakes and tsunamis, unrest, civil unrest, in the midst of all this, it is important for us to discover that our bodies house the inward man. Our bodies are being managed by the inward man as the Spirit of Yahuah within us directs us and guide us in Yahusha's name. Let me read this also, my brothers and sisters. Acts chapter 7, verse 44 through 48. For it reads, the tent of witness was with our fathers in the wilderness, as he appointed, instructing Moshe to make it according to the pattern he had seen, which our fathers, having received it in turn, also brought with Yahusha into the land possessed by the nations, whom the Almighty One drove out before the face of our fathers unto the days of David, who found favor before the Almighty One and asked to find dwelling for the Almighty One of Yaakov. But Shalum, this is Solomon, built him a house. However, listen to this. However, the Most High does not dwell in dwelling made with hands, as the prophet says. See, that house that Solomon built, it by itself was not the dwelling place of Yahuah. It were the priests, the people, the servants of Yahuah that he worked and dwelled in. He who made us, who breathed life into us. Our mental and cognitive, the way we've been taught how to read and understand things, our literary skills will make us interpret this a different way. Thus some will be blinded. Thus the scriptures read, the letter kills, but the spirit makes alive. Pray on what I'm saying, O Yashar'al. It is critical, because then when understanding comes, we will come to realize the responsibility we have in managing these earthen vessels. How to do it. Yashar'al, my brothers and sisters, I want to take you to 2 Corinthians. 2 Corinthians, my brothers and sisters. 6:16 says, and what union has the dwelling place of the Almighty One with idols? For you are a dwelling place of the living Almighty One. As the Almighty One has said, I shall dwell in them and walk among them, and I shall be their Almighty One, and they shall be my people. Come with me also to, that was 2 Corinthians 6:16. Come with me also to 2 Corinthians 4:16 through 18. 2 Corinthians 4:16 through 18. For it reads, therefore we do not lose heart, but even if our outward man is perishing, the inward man is being renewed day by day. For this slight momentary pressure is working for us a far more exceeding and everlasting weight of esteem. We are not looking on what is seen, but on what is not seen. For what is seen passes away, but what is not seen is everlasting. The Spirit of Yahuah, our inward man, that Spirit which we cannot see. We see it manifest in our obedience when we walk in obedience, when we walk being filled with the Spirit. There's a difference between filled and being baptized or immersed. And I'll talk about that in another segment. But at this point, filled, I am referring to being filled as walking in total obedience. Sure, we'll stumble and we'll fall, but in the blood of the Lamb, through our repentance and turning, we'll rise up anew, made new, O Yashar'al. My brothers and sisters, the Temple of Yahuah, when we recognize that inward man, when we recognize our union with the Spirit of Yahuah through the name Yahusha, because it is the communication of Yahuah to us, and he communicates with us through his word. This is why it says, Yahusha said in John 12:32, if I be lifted up, I will draw all men to myself. This is why scripture says Yahusha is our mediator. We're able to communicate to the Almighty Father through the word that he sent, through the word that he manifests before us. This is why John 14:26 says he sent the set-apart Spirit, our helper, in his name, in Yahusha's name. This is how we communicate. Many people want to play it safe because they're not sure how to pronounce his name or what's right. So they rather just say Yah, Yah, Yah. Corrections are coming. We have a responsibility as the Temple of Yahuah, individually and collectively, to walk correctly according to his desires. My brothers and sisters, I want to bring you to this next passage. And I want to emphasize it's important for us to know how to focus and identify the Spirit of Yahuah working with us to manage this earthen vessel, to manage this temple, which Yahuah and our inward man are within and working without. Proverbs chapter 4, 19 through 27. 4:19 through 27. We must learn how to focus, and we will see there's a difference than us acting and communicating with each other based off of our mental faculties. You see, our brain, our mental faculties have been conditioned and programmed. Whatever school we went to, whatever home we grew up in, whatever environment we grew up in, these things shaped how we interpret what we read and what we see. But I submit to you, within the things that have programmed us to act the way we act, to some degree, interpret things the way we interpret, behind the scenes is the inward man. To the set apart one, that inward man is alive, quickened by the Spirit and the word of Yahuah. Are we not aware in Deuteronomy 8:3 where it says, man doesn't live by bread alone, but every word that proceeds out of the mouth of Yahuah? We must learn to focus. Think about it, O Yashar'al. There are some decisions in some ways we act are a reflection of how we've been treated or how we have decided to act based on what we've seen and became attracted to or seduced by. You ever hear people say, I should have followed my first mind, my first conscience? In some cases, that was the quickening spirit of Yahuah working with the inward man. We will learn how to focus, and we will learn how it is by identifying the temple of Yahuah within us, his spirit, his presence working within us, one towards another. We will see that how we focus will change, how we perceive things will change, how we identify what's happening will change. Proverbs 4:19 through 27 reads, the way of the wrong is like darkness. They do not know at what they stumble. My son, listen to my words. Incline your ear to my sayings. Let them not depart from your eyes. Guard them in the midst of your heart, for they are life to those who find them and healing to all their flesh. Watch over your heart with all diligence, for out of it are the sources of life. Turn away from you a crooked mouth and put perverse lips far from you. Now notice it say, watch over your heart with all diligence. There are times the scriptures say the heart is deceitfully wicked. That's talking about the brain, how it have the best interests of the flesh, not the best interests of your soul and your spirit. And then there are times where it's talking about heart, it's talking about the inward man. In this case, it's talking about the inward man that have been set apart as a result of Yahuah drawing, receiving you into his hands in the name of Yahusha. It say, turn away from you in the 24th verse, a crooked mouth, put perverse lips far from you. Let your eyes look forward and your eyelids look straight before you. Focus and seek out the Almighty Father Yahuah in the name of Yahusha. Consider the path of your feet, and all your ways are established. Do not turn to the right or the left. Turn your foot away from evil. Discern what the Almighty Father is saying. Move in the direction in which he is guiding you. You see, my brothers and sisters, some would like to set up a general narrative, like they'll say the right and the left, and people are confused because of those terms are slung for political reasons. Don't get caught up on left or right. Get caught up on which direction is the Almighty Father telling you. And there are some who will like to give you a general rule. You can't go wrong when you go right. This is not true. Yashar'al, O Yashar'al, focus. Seek out the voice of the Spirit of Yahuah and discover his presence within you and amongst us. My brothers and sisters, I want to tell you something. Bear with me a second. Bear with me in just a moment, my brothers and sisters. I want to tell you my story in position of belief. In my prayer and seeking the Almighty Father in the name of Yahusha, He who is Yahuah, Spirit everywhere at all times, through His word sent, through His Spirit sent in Yahusha's name, I believe I saw Yashar'al gathered from the four corners of the earth, centered around with the focal point, the core, at the set-apart mountain, the true Mount Sinai, which is currently Yahusha. And I believe, my brothers and sisters, that the Almighty Father had us set up and be structured around that set-apart mountain within the promised land. And it would be so many, millions gathered. All will not be able to see the mountain up close. But in that gathering from the four corners of the earth, my brothers and sisters, the presence of Yahuah was at that focal point. Just as the Almighty Father came down and spoke with Musha, I believe we will see His presence communicating with us, with those whom He has chosen to lead. And the elders will present the messages and instructions of the things we are supposed to be doing while we await the physical return of Yahushua HaMashiach. And I believe, O Yashar'al, that the anti-Mashiach, when he killed the two witnesses, I believe around that time, he's going to come to where the set-apart children are gathered, waiting the physical return of Yahusha. And he's going to step to that area among us and say, I'm here. I'm the one you've been waiting on. And he's going to seek to step on the mountain of Yahuah. But I believe by the time he tried to get even close to that focal point, that the two witnesses will be raised up from the 3.5 days, and the physical return of Yahusha will come to be. Will he go and sit in a physical temple that they will call the Holy of Holies, that they would have built in Jerusalem? More than likely, yes. But I don't believe that is the part that will fulfill the scriptures. It's when he come to the set-apart ones. Now, there will be some set-apart ones in Jerusalem hovering around this third temple, thinking that's where they're supposed to be. And I believe the two witnesses will go there and tell them, you're in the wrong place. You need to be with the rest of those that were gathered from the four corners of the earth around Yahusha, the true Mount Sinai. And we come to provide you with the information that is necessary on what to do and where you're to go. And the powers that they have are convincing powers for the set-apart children of Yahuah. It's for the benefit of the body of Yahuah's children. Many people think the two witnesses are coming just to jack up, kill, or destroy, or exact vengeance and wrath. But I submit to you, these two prophets are for the edifying, the building up of the set-apart children of Yahuah. And they will demonstrate the powers that are written in the 11th chapter of Revelation for the sake of convincing the children of Yahuah to fall down and pursue the ways of Yahuah, to worship, to improve our obedience to the Almighty Father. This is my position of belief, and I believe it wholeheartedly, my brothers and sisters. Pray and watch. It is not this third physical temple. Many will be deceived and caught up. You know, belief is a challenging thing, my brothers and sisters. I believe my cup run over. But I can say I believe that, but it's to the listener. It's to you. Do I present messages that stir your spirit, that draws you closer to the Almighty Father, that encourages you to pursue His will? That only you can answer that question. But I must continue to move as I believe I am compelled. Let me continue, O Yashar'al. Keep in mind, 1 Corinthians 9:25 through 27. For it reads, and everyone who competes controls himself in every way. Now that they do it to receive a corruptible crown, but we for an incorruptible crown. Therefore I run accordingly, not with uncertainty. Thus I fight, not as one who beats the air, but I treat my body severely and make it my slave, lest having proclaimed to others, I myself may be rejected. Making his body a slave to the inward man that's joined with the spirit of Yahuah in the name of Yahusha. Shalum speaks boldly on these matters, and so will many begin to rise up as we discern our responsibilities within these vessels, that individually and collectively we represent the Temple of Yahuah. Come with me to 1 Peter 1:22 through 25. For it reads, now that you have cleansed your lives in obeying the truth through the Spirit to unfeigned brotherly love, love one another fervently with a clean heart, having been born again, not of the corruptible seed, but incorruptible, through the living word of the Almighty One. Do you know the living word of the Almighty One is Yahusha, which remains forever? Because all flesh is as grass, and all the esteem of man as the flower of the grass. The grass withers, and its flower falls away. But the word of Yahuah remains forever. It is his word within us. Our spirits will remain forever with the Almighty Father. Pray and seek to discern the meaning, the life in these words. Remember, O Yashar'al, remember these words as you pursue what to do during these final days. Hebrews 11:1 and 2 says, and belief is the substance of what is expected, the proof of what is not seen, for by this the elders obtain witness. Proof will come, my brothers and sisters, but it starts with believing. And the Almighty Father will create extreme humbling times to bring us into sensitivity to his voice, his guidance, whether it be directly or through a brother or a sister. Could even be through a child. Hebrews 11:6 says, but without belief it is impossible to please him. For he who comes to the Almighty One has to believe that he is, and that he is a rewarder of those who earnestly seek him. Understand, my brothers and sisters, it requires belief. And I talk often about vetting. If we looked at the tools that the Almighty Father put before us on how to vet, how to examine teachings and speakings, we will see that in vetting and examining things, when the Spirit of Yahusha works in us, he shows us the connectivity between Genesis and Revelations and all in between. When you can't see the connectivity, what many have done is take it away. It's, the New Testament, New Covenant, or whatever man want to label it. They'll say, that's not scripture. Because they cannot discern the life in it. They'll discredit Shalum and say that's just a letter, because they can't discern the life in what was written. We, as the Temple of Yahuah, will grow in these final days to discern the life in the scriptures, how they connect in our whole. And anyone who is unable is still as a babe on milk, or may not be part of the set-apart family of Yashar'al. They may be the hidden tear that has its place and appointment. Come with me, my brothers and sisters, as I gradually come to a close. Yahuwah's temple will be clean. You see, people are quick to say Yahuwah is not in that, and there's no way Yahuwah, that you're a temple of Yahuwah. But look at a person thoroughly, prayerfully, with the eyes that Yahusha will give you, the spiritual eye to discern what he will reveal. You see, because his house, if a person is quote unquote, in their mind, they might say they're going through hell, it could be the discipline of Yahuwah cleaning that house because it is indeed his. If Yahuwah drew us to him, drew us to Yahusha Mashiach, and he made us alive, do you not think our union, our inward man united with him, will clean house? And is that cleaning of house a reflection of the discipline of Yahuwah? How many of us have asked, who is this that he is disciplined? It's someone he loved. Revelation 3:19 says, as many as I love, I reprove and discipline, so be ardent and repent. Revelation 3:19. And let us be mindful of what we're going through as he refines us in these final days. Keep in mind Hebrews 12:11. For it reads, and indeed no discipline seemed pleasant at the time, but grievous, but afterwards it yields the peaceable fruit of righteousness to those who have been trained by it. I'm going to tell you something, Yashar'al. It will yield a peaceable fruit of righteousness to those who have been trained by it. While we're physically alive, we will find that and discover that peaceable fruit of righteousness, or in some cases, his child he will cause to die physically. And a child of Yahuwah that has been put to sleep physically will get that peaceable fruit of righteousness. So the question is, do you want to identify it? Do you want to recognize it? Do you want to pursue and confirm and reaffirm that peaceable fruit of righteousness is as a result of growing in obedience to him? Choose wisely, O set-apart family. My brothers and sisters, just because we don't see everything that's happening regarding end-time prophecies, just because we don't see all the details and processes, the good and the bad, doesn't mean that things aren't ramping up. Soon and very soon, we will discover conditions where many of us will be weakened physically, so weak that we will cry out, Abba, Father, Abba Yahuwah, in the name of Yahusha, help me, direct me, guide my footsteps, guide my words and my actions. This will come for those who will be among the final exodus. This will be demonstrated among the 144,000. The pursuers of obedience will understand why these earthen vessels will be weakened in order for us to rise up strong with confidence and set apart ways that have been established by the Almighty Father, working in us and through us. My brothers and sisters, there's so much work to be done. Stay tuned. Details and processes will become clear to the discerning and the obedience. I invite you to visit my website, YahsWatchman.net. Discover ways to get connected and involved, my brothers and sisters. The 144,000 will be identified. The great multitude of many nations and kindreds and tongues will be identified as a result of the refining power of the Spirit of Yahuwah, which comes in Yahusha's name. And in our focus on him, he will draw all men to himself. And this is how we will find ourselves coming to him. Him working in us, through us, one towards another, indirectly. Soon and very soon, O Yashar'al. And you heard me say millions, but when you compare it to the world population, it will only be a remnant. Pray, O Yashar'al, Pray and choose wisely. I end as I end most frequently by asking, are you my brother? Are you my sister? Why don't we communicate? Why don't we talk to one another? Why don't we forge the relationship that the Almighty Father so desires of us? Prepare to witness for the Almighty Father. Almighty Yahuah has the answers, and the answers will come. The results will come. End time prophecies will be fulfilled. They will not be based on a maybe or if. The plan that the Almighty Father have laid out is unfolding before our very eyes. Let us awaken to his words, to his voice, to his living guidance, to him working in us, through us, one towards another. On that note, I say to you, my brothers and sisters, my ultimate prayer is that we grow to discern the voice of the Spirit of Yahuah and learn how to respond accurately, timely, and with the love that he shows us. On that note, I say stay tuned. There is more to come. Shalom, my brother, my sister, my family. Shalom.